On July 31st, 2012, U.S. swimmer Michael Phelps wins a silver medal in the 200-meter butterfly and a gold in the 4x200 freestyle relay, giving him 19 total Olympic medals, passing Larissa Latanina for the most Olympic medals by any person all time. And today we're going to dive into how Michael Phelps was able to accomplish all his Olympic success on Daily Sports History. Welcome to Daily Sports History. I'm Ethan Reese, your guide to a rapid deep dive into sports history every day. And the trivia question for today's episode is, how many Guinness World Records does Michael Phelps still hold as of July 31st, 2024? Now, Michael was born in Baltimore, Maryland, and was the youngest of three kids. His mother was a middle school principal, and his father was a retired Maryland state trooper who was able to play college football and try out for the Washington Commanders back in the 70s. And since Michael was the youngest, he always looked to his sisters at what they were doing and tried to follow in their footsteps. And his sisters were good swimmers. So Michael jumped in the pool at age 7, and his parents loved the idea so he could get out some of his pent-up energy, as he would later be diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactive disorder, better known as ADHD. But it didn't take long for him to reach the national stage, when at 10 years old, he set the nation record for his age group in the 100-meter butterfly, and he began then to train at the North Baltimore Aquatic Club under coach Bobby Bowen. And Bobby would be in Phelps' life throughout his career. Bobby Bowen was a swimmer at Florida State back in the 80s, but was starting to make a name for himself as a swimming coach, and was the type of coach that was a no-nonsense drill sergeant, which was exactly what Phelps needed. And throughout Bobby Bowman's career, he would accept different jobs, whether at the University of Michigan or Arizona State, and everywhere Bob went, so did Phelps, following him so he could train for everything he did. And it didn't take long for Phelps to make it to the Olympics. He qualified for the Olympics at age 15 for the 2000 Summer Olympics, and was the youngest male swimmer since Ralph Flanagan in 1932. And he qualified for the 200-meter butterfly, but was only able to finish 5th in his very first Olympic race, which quite honestly is impressive for any 15-year-old to compete on the world's biggest stage for swimming, going against grown men. But it didn't take long for him after the Olympics to make a name for himself, becoming the youngest world record holder in swimming in the 200-meter butterfly that following year at the 2001 World Aquatic Championships at just 15 years and 9 months. And this is where things really started to take off. He started to expand his swimming to not just the butterfly, starting to do medleys and freestyle, winning multiple medals at the 2002 Pan-Pacific Championships, at the 2003 World Championships, and qualified for the 2004 Summer Olympics, where he was able to qualify for 6 different events. The 200 and 400 individual medley, and if you don't know what the medley is, it's a combination of all the major swimming strokes in one event, which are the butterfly, the backstroke, the breaststroke, and the freestyle. He also qualified for the 100 and 200 meter butterfly, the 200 meter freestyle, and the 200 meter backstroke, where the world finally knew who Michael Phelps was. At the 2004 Olympics, held in Athens, Greece, where the very first Olympics was held, which we covered in a previous episode, as Phelps would go on to race in 8 different events, and 3 of those would be relay races that he was added onto as well. And he would go on to have the second greatest Olympics by an individual swimmer in terms of gold medals, behind Mark Spitz, who won 7 gold medals at the 1972 Summer Olympics, held in Munich. And he was doing all this at the age of 19. He set Olympic records in the 100 and 200 meter butterfly and the 200 meter medley. He set world records in the 400 meter medley. Now, the 100 meter medley, traditionally, you get entered into this race by finishing the highest in the individual medley race. So if you finish first in the freestyle for your country, you're going to race in the medley relay for your country, and the same for the butterfly, the backstroke, and the breaststroke. So Phelps won the 100 meter butterfly, beating his teammate Ian Crocker by just 0.04 seconds. And because of this, Crocker wouldn't have the chance to get a gold medal at this Olympics. So despite swimming being largely individualized, Phelps did something for a teammate. He gave up his spot in the medley so that Ian Crocker would have a chance to get a gold medal as well, which he did. And since Phelps already raced for the 4x100 meter medley, he was also awarded a gold medal for this team. So in all told, he won 6 gold medals and 2 bronze, giving him a total of 8 Olympic medals, all before he could legally take a drink in America. This led him to being named Swimmer of the Year and becoming a celebrity in America, something we have not ever seen before in the sport of swimming, which one of his idols growing up was Michael Jordan, who changed the sport of basketball, and he wanted to do the same for swimming, and he was starting to do that. And it became known heading into the 2008 Summer Olympics that he was attempting to break Mart Spitz's 7 gold medals record, and he qualified in 6 different events: the 200-meter freestyle, the 100 and 200-meter butterfly, the 200 and 400-meter medley, and all those qualified him for relays in the 4x1 freestyle, the 4x2 freestyle, and the 4x1 medley. And when he came in to the Olympics, he was arguably the most famous athlete outside of the professional athletes in basketball to be there at Beijing. At the 2008 Beijing Olympics, he would set a world record in every single event he raced in, except for one, the 100-meter butterfly. He only set the Olympic record. In the first race he got his gold medal in was the 400-meter individual medley, which he beat his own world record by 2 seconds. And in just his 3rd race, he became the 5th Olympic athlete in modern history to win 9 gold medals, joining Mart Spitz, Lazaria, Latnia, Pavo, Numari, and Carl Lewis. And he wasn't done, as he kept winning and winning and winning until he came to his 7th and arguably the most exciting medal he won, going against Serbia swimmer Mildred Milo Kavic. In the 100-meter butterfly, Phelps was able to win by just 0.01 seconds. Unless you watch this race on slow-mo, you can't tell who wins. It is one of the closest finishes ever in swimming history. And it was this one that gave him the tie for Mart Spitz's record of 7 gold medals. And on August 17th, running the 4x100 meter relay, him and his team were able to set the world record and break Mart Spitz's record for gold medals in a single Olympic game with a total of 8. Now, following this dominating performance, at this time, performance-enhancing drugs were still common in sports, and many thought Phelps had to be taking something to have a dominant performance like that. They thought it was too good to be true, but Phelps passed 9 different tests that were administered to him during the Olympics. And the reason why he was so dominant was his body makeup. He has the absolute perfect body for a swimmer. His wingspan is longer than his height, which is 6'4", and his wingspan is 6'8". The average person, your wingspan is the size of your height. His is longer, and his torso is longer than his legs, which allows him to have more movement in his upper body, allowing for a stronger stroke. And he has larger than average feet, which seems like he has flippers compared to an average person's feet. And because of his body makeup, he got into the perfect sport. And sometimes that's all you need to do, is have that perfect sport for just yourself. And he was able to find that in swimming. And if you didn't know who Michael Phelps was after the 2004 Olympics, everyone knew who he was after the 2008. And he wasn't done swimming. Part of the reason why he was able to win so many medals is because he was so young when he started. He made his first Olympics at 15, won his first gold at 19, and was only 23 years old when he broke Mart Spitz's record. So when it came to the 2012 games, he was still ready to swim. And though he qualified for the same 8 races he did at the Beijing Olympics, at the London Olympics, he only raced in 6 events. As honestly, it became harder for him to train like he had done before. He was more of a celebrity. He had more endorsements. He had more commitments outside of the pool than he did previously, which made it more of a challenge for him to compete. But that doesn't mean he still wasn't one of the greatest swimmers in London, as he won gold in 4 different events: the 100-meter butterfly, the 200-meter medley, and the 2x4 freestyle and 4x1 medley, also winning silver in the 200-meter butterfly and the 4x1 freestyle relay. And at the London Olympics on July 31st, on this day, he won 2 gold medals, which tied him and broke the record of Lazara Latiana, a former Soviet gymnast who in 3 different Olympics won a total of 14 individual medals and 4 team medals, which in 1964 made her the most decorated Olympian there ever was, until Michael Phelps, when he got his 19th Olympic medal. And she was even present at the race and asked if she could present the medal to Phelps, although that was against the rules and she was not allowed, but she did say Phelps was more than deserving of the record. And when he was all done at the 2012 Olympics, he had a total of 22 overall medals. And shortly after these Olympics, he stated that he was done, finished, he's retired. He wants to get away from the sport and do other things outside, do more with his life. But sometimes when you've been doing something your whole life, it becomes hard to step away from it. And that's exactly what happened. And by this time, him and his coach, Bob Bowen, who he had followed and been around his entire racing career, had fizzled their relationship. And now Phelps was racing for himself. He wanted to see if he could do it on his own, do it without Bowman. So maybe he could enjoy it just a little bit more than he was before. And he came back with a vengeance, competing in 6 different events at the Rio Games, where he was the American flag bearer for the opening ceremonies and was voted a captain of the U.S. swim team and was a U.S. delegate for the Olympics. It seemed to be he was more enjoying this Olympics than before. And because of that, he was able to win 5 more gold medals and 1 silver, all at the age of 31, which is older than the average swimming Olympian. And this would be his final Olympics, for real this time. And he finished his Olympic career with 28 medals, 10 more than the previous record. By far the most decorated Olympian ever. Arguably the best Olympian that there ever was. As of this recording, he still holds 20 Guinness World Records. Was the World Swimmer of the Year 7 years, as well as being Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year in 2008. He accomplished a lot. We may never see his record for total medals won ever be broken, but we can enjoy the ride he took us on throughout 4 different Olympics. I want to thank you for listening to today's Daily Sports History. If you like this, please share it on your socials, text it to a friend, shout it from the rooftops, go listen to Daily Sports History, and come back tomorrow for more Daily Sports History. In answer to today's trivia question, how many Guinness World Records does Michael Phelps still own to this day? And the answer is 20.